Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be back with all of you. I'm glad I made it before we say goodbye to the decade that was 2023. I know a lot of us are happy to say goodbye to this year and welcome in the fresh energy of an 8-year 2024. Today is the solstice, so happy solstice to everyone. I made a new moon video for you last week, and there was no sound. So I'm back again. I want to talk a little bit about the new moon in Sagittarius because that happened at when Mercury was stationary. So all during the Mercury retrograde, those energies are still active. And it's a sweet new moon. It was a great new moon. It happened at 20 degrees of Sagittarius on the 12th. And for those of you that know your charts, or if you don't, you can go on astro.com and enter your information. It's good to look at your progressed planets, your tertiary progressions. There's a menu where there's a drop down and you can choose which chart you want to see. And then if you go, when the chart is made, so the page will come up with the chart on it, at the top, right above the chart on the left side, there's a button that says PDF. If you click the PDF button, it will tell you all the degrees of your planet. So then you can see, what house this is happening in for you. Whenever anybody talks about what degree this is going on and this is going on, look at it. It is, of course, important if you have a planet in that sign, but if the degrees are the same, then definitely that planet's making contact. So at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, the sun and moon came together. They were trine the north node in Aries, so the direction that we're going. Aries is the sign of the pioneer, and it was sextile the south node. So there was a decision, a choice. Can you let something go? Can you let something from the past, probably something negative, may have had something to do with the relationship because the south node is in Libra. So it's like leaving that behind. And then the Venus was in Scorpio and ruling the south node, which is in Libra, her sign. The midpoint of the south node and Venus were square to Pluto. So that's the past too. So it is something most likely that maybe was painful. I mean, I always say my ex-husband, we could go on with stories about that whole thing for a long time. But forgiving that man was the best thing I ever did for myself, for him, for our family, our kids, for his wife. It's just so much better in forgiveness. I mean, whatever it is that goes on between two people, it's always the lesson that we gain. And, maybe that isn't the soulmate that we chose to learn about true love with. Maybe we decided that we would come together for different reasons, for lessons, for valuable reasons that are not true love, right? Maybe it was to find out what you didn't want. Maybe it was just to have children. Or, only to have children. We had that in our chart. And so once I saw that and I told him that, look, this was always going to be a show, but everything that happened was meant to be, we just got right over it and just went on. And life is so much more peaceful. So I notice that whenever I talk about forgiveness, I get a lot of comments about why, there shouldn't be forgiveness, or you don't have to make a show of it either. You can forgive someone in your heart without actually having the conversation and telling them that they're forgiven. But once I did that, he didn't know that I had done that, and everything changed in our relationship. So hi to Brian if you're watching, because he does sometimes watch me. So I just want to go back to what else was happening with the new moon. It was in 150 degree angles, so it's called a quincunx to Uranus, who is at 20 degrees of Taurus. So when you put all of that together, it's about revolutionary evolution. And, when we come to a point in our growth where it's time to let go of things, then we can have the evolution. And the revolution is really just our pride, our ego, being silenced when we decide to forgive, just because maybe we want to just live a more peaceful life. Mercury was stationary retrograde at the time, and he was out of bounds, so outside the path of the sun at 8 degrees of Capricorn, and he was in a sweet trine of, like that's 120 degrees. It's an easy flow, effortless energy to Jupiter, as Jupiter was coming to stop in Taurus. So that happened on November 26th. Mercury went into shadow at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So right close, just by the new moon energy. That was the 20th degree. Venus was square to Saturn, will square Saturn when Mercury's comes back on the 1st or 2nd of January in 2024. He will reach the 22nd degree of Sagittarius again. So Mercury started his retrograde in Capricorn sign. Capricorn, Saturn's in Pisces, ruling Capricorn, ruling Mercury, answering to Neptune, who is in Pisces, and also Jupiter in Taurus, because Jupiter is a co-ruler of Pisces. This is a very benefic energy. Now, my son tells me that there's a lot of astrologers on TikTok talking about how negative everything is right now. The sun and the moon, the sun and Pluto and Mars are parallel by declination. So they're like, if you look up in the sky, if we could see Pluto with the naked eye, they're all together. And when they're that close to, it's hard to see them. So they're all traveling together, which is like the energy of a conjunction. That is the tower. We didn't know about Pluto when the tarot was written. And so he is not included. It's Mars, but it's Mars as the, death and transformation, the wrecking ball energy of Scorpio. Mars, Scorpio, untamed, Mars and Scorpio. But this is, so it's something powerful, change, and something that we need to do, like something new, add something, subtract something, and start a whole new path. This is like a whole new way of looking at things. Information that could come in, could be a tower. That was what happened in my case. I had information come in that was like, wow, but it was really good news that made me very happy. But it was definitely a tower moment. It made the whole past 8 years of my life made sense. And I'm a good reader. I mean, a lot of you tell me that. I have many friends who are excellent readers. No one could give me any information about this situation because I wasn't meant to know. So a lot of this is just about gaining clarity and gaining perspective, is what he's saying. And then, if you can be in a place, and I know, when things are rough, it's not easy to get into the place where you're grateful for things that have gone on, especially things that have hurt you. And I like the way that Eckhart Tolle describes the ego as a little entity. And that's what, in my dreams, it's like a little demon child. And all of us have that, when we just want to be cranky and we don't want to snap out of it. And that's fine too. But when we do snap out of it and we have grace for, he's saying, the predicaments that we have ordered for ourselves, these situations that we have created with our thinking, if we can just have grace for the situation and for that person and let that go, that will bring in a whole new energy. This is also a fantastic energy because of Venus is so involved in Taurus and Jupiter in Taurus, and a lot of that has to do with money. If you could clean out, especially if you have a basement, clean out the basement. But closets, that's another Pluto. You want to clean that stuff out. I have stuff in closets. I don't even know what's in closets for 20 years. But if we can clean that stuff out, not the best week, I know, but Mercury retrograde will continue after Christmas and New Year's. If you can clean that stuff out and make room, he's saying, for abundance. Jupiter and Saturn is the wise teacher. He also brings magnificent blessings. Jupiter landed on my Saturn, a week and a half ago. And I had 2 phenomenal gifts that came in from people that I was not expecting at all. Saturn rewards are when you do your Saturn, right? When you pay attention to what it is that Saturn is asking of you in this life. What is the big lesson? If you can work on that and put energy and effort into that, focus there, that will help you to grow, and it will bring in abundance and miracles, is what he's saying. So I want to mention that Mars, when Mercury comes out of his retrograde on the first or second, Pluto is trine the moon in Virgo. That's also a nice energy for clarity, just like Venus square Saturn is a nice energy for clarity. Mars will be at the galactic center, so really like clear energy, which I think is a miracle too. When you finally have clarity about something that was really confusing, that's always good. Mars is going to go out of bounds on the 21st of December until January 23rd. One of my astrology teachers said that men act weird when Mars is out of bounds. I find that, at least the men that I know personally, they don't seem like they're as burdened by just like a lot of pressure. I mean, the masculine does have that, until they work it out. Just this like feeling of having to be responsible, or that they need to take on more responsibility. It's just old, tradition and DNA programs and patterns all worn out that we're changing now, right? Because we're coming into an equality phase. So keep that in mind, because Mars, as the ruler of Aries, is about being the pioneer and going outside the comfort zone, just like the astrology for the new moon. On Christmas Day, Venus will trine Neptune. So Venus will be at the end of Scorpio in a sweet trine to Neptune in Pisces. Really nice, lovely energy for Christmas Day. So hopefully, that tower is kind of going to be like, because by that time too, Mars has gone a little bit out. I mean, he's still at the same degree. But the Venus Venus in Scorpio trine Neptune in Pisces trumps that energy of the Pluto Mars Sun. Now, if you have big drinkers around and you don't want big scenes, maybe kind of watch that, because Neptune and Pisces can be that too. So just thought of that. But then the full moon in Cancer takes place on the 26th Central Standard Time at 6:33 p.m. In London, it's the 27th at 12:33 a.m. And in Sydney, it's the 27th at 11:33 a.m. It will happen at 5 degrees of Cancer. Jupiter is stationary direct, and Chiron is also stationary direct. So Jupiter is going to station direct at 5 degrees of Taurus, so he's in that nice 60-degree energy of choice. To the full moon, Chiron is at 19 degrees of Aries. He began moving back July 24th. So if you can go back, if anything significant was happening at the end of July, he's back there again to rehash whatever that was. And Chiron, we don't know a lot about him because we only found him in the 50s. And, older astrologers that have been doing this for 40, 50 years always say there's so many more things about him than the wounded warrior. He's really big in soulmate charts, I noticed, just doing readings for people. But that June 9th is where Jupiter was at 5 degrees of Taurus. So beginning of June, end of July, we're looking back there. And then Venus is in a quintile to the North Node. The quintiles are sorry, you guys, I can't read my writing once again. Mars and Mercury are quintile Uranus, and Venus is quintile. What is Venus quintile? Quintiles are 144 degrees. Yeah, it is the North Node and Chiron together. Those yellow lines, those are magic-y. They're very nice. They're nice in our charts, and they're nice at a full moon too. I know it's Cancer, but I don't see it being so emotional. The moon is pretty far out too, so that's good. Because that's less, when it's not as close to the earth, it's just not as emotional. Ceres is at the great attractor, and Ceres is a sweet energy too, feminine energy. Planets that fall at the great attractor in the middle of Sagittarius, people that have placements there are very magnetic. My sister had 2 planets there, and everybody loved her. Everybody wanted to be her friend. The 5th degree of Cancer, where the full moon falls, there is a fixed star called Tejet Posterior. It bestows power, vitality, strength, protection. It's Venusian and Mercurian, and it indicates honor, wealth, order, elegance, the sweet temper, lovability, refinement, and creative talent. So it's time to pick up that energy and move forward into some new phase. Something is wrapping up. A cycle is wrapping up, and we're moving into the next new phase. So I'm so happy that I got to make this video for you guys today and be with you again. Thank you so much for all of the kind messages and emails and comments. When you guys are checking up on me, I really appreciate it. And I'm here when I'm able to be here. And so, I hope that I'm back with you very soon, closer to the beginning of the year. So sending you guys so much love. Take care.